A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John, chapter 8, verses 51 to 59. The passage is taken from the Message version of the Bible. God intends something gloriously grand here, and is making the decisions that will bring it about. I say this with absolute confidence. If you practice what I'm telling you, you'll never have to look death in the face. At this point, the Jews said, "Now we know you're crazy. Abraham died, the prophets died, and you show up saying, if you practice what I'm telling you, you'll never have to face death, not even a taste. Are you greater than Abraham who died? And the prophets died. Who do you think you are?" Jesus said, "If I were striving to get all the attention, it wouldn't amount to anything. But my Father, the same one you say is your Father, put me here at this time and place of splendor. You haven't recognized him in this, but I have. If I, in false modesty, said I didn't know what was going on, I would be as much of a liar as you are. But I do know, and I am doing what he says. Abraham, your father, with elated faith, looked down the corridors of history and saw my day coming. He saw it and cheered." The Jews said, "You're not even 50 years old, and Abraham saw you?" "Believe me," said Jesus, "I am who I am long before Abraham was anything." That did it, pushed them over the edge. They picked up rocks to throw at him, but Jesus slipped away, getting out of the temple. The Gospel of the Lord.
Let us now listen to a short reflection on the Holy Gospel according to St. John chapter 8, verses 51 to 59. God lives in the hearts of his people. Whoever keeps my word will never see death. The Jews couldn't grasp the meaning of never seeing death beyond the literal interpretation of words. Today's readings focus on God's promises, including the promise to Father Abraham in the first reading and the promise of a life without death for those who believe in Jesus and in his gospel. God chose Abraham and promised to make him a father of many nations. Abraham believed in the promises and entered into a covenant with God, a commitment for life. Today's gospel presents the debate between Jesus and the Pharisees, where they constantly repeated, "We must follow the law." Their only concern was fulfilling the laws, and they thought it would please God if they followed them. Their hearts and minds were closed, and it is impossible to convince a closed mind. These days, many people tend to believe that their way of thinking is the only correct way, and it is almost like they have turned it into an idol. We read in the Gospel that they threw stones at him. Jesus hid himself and left the temple. In the prologue too, John describes this rejection. He came to his own, and they did not accept him. Jesus left the temple. He left the temple. Remember the gospel account when Jesus died on the cross, the veil that covered the Holy of Holies in the temple split open, so to say, to reveal that God was no longer present in the temple. He had left the temple, and he now dwells in the temple that he has raised among his people, the church, the body of Christ.